Chapter 29 in The Ghosts of Tupelo Landing. Harder than if the sky lost its blue. Grandmother Miss Lacey nailed it. The next morning, her financial disaster was the topic du jour. Nobody could remember Grandmother Miss Lacey not having money. People took it harder than if the sky had lost its blue. Even Miss Rose came to town seeking comfort. She sat at the counter, her back straight. "Hey, Miss Rose," I said, sliding biscuits her way. Worry had lined her eyes. Grandmother Miss Lacey is her partner, too. "Nice posture. I'm more of a slumper myself. What can I get you?" "The special, please," she said. "Has Miss Thornton called this morning?" She twisted her wedding band, a nervous habit. "Old habits die hard, Miss Lana says, and Mr. Macon's a very old habit." Miss Lana stopped beside me. "Not yet, but we're fine, Rose," she said in her this better be true voice. She splashed coffee into Miss Rose's cup. "Pass the biscuits around, sugar," she told me. "Nothing comforts people like hot biscuits." I darted through the crowd, delivering biscuits and taking the news. Grandmother Miss Lacey's woes had spread across the town like ripples across a pond. She had helped so many people. She owned a quiet slice of nearly every business in town. Mayor Little, at the counter, poked a hole in his biscuit and filled it with molasses. "If Lacey Thornton goes under, Tupelo Landing goes under," he said, sending a tidal wave of worry cascading across the cafe. He stared longingly at the biscuits. "Are you offering seconds?" I looked at his round belly. "I'd hate to see you lose your figure, but I'll see what I can do," I said, as Miss Lana stepped to the counter and clapped her hands. Her Ava Gardner wig shimmered as the cafe clattered to silence. "As most of you know, Miss Lacey's coming home today. As you may not know, she's worried about us," she said. Miss Rose and Sal's mother looked up. So did Skeeter's mom, and Hannah's father, who owns the service station at the edge of town. "She'll talk to each of us when she's ready. Until we have more details, I suggest what we have always done in difficult times. Our best." The cafe murmured like pigeons. "If we lose the inn, we'll go out with style. I'm sure you all know what that means." She gave me a regal nod. "Mo?" I stepped up on my Pepsi crate and waited for all eyes to find me. "Party," I said. The cafe cheered. "We'll throw the best bash ever," she said. "We'll set the scene. We'll laugh and dance and eat old-fashioned treats. Mo and I will don authentic 1938 costumes." "What?" I cried, staggering. Dale gasped. "Costumes?" He shoved Harm behind the jukebox and dove in after him, out of the line of fire. Attila stood up. "Costumes suit Mo and Dale," she said, her eyes glinting. "But Mother and I draw the line at costuming. So will our friends." I hate Attila Celeste Simpson. Booter Jackson put his fork down. "I'll MC the event," he offered. Miss Lana blanched. I knew she was picturing him prancing across the stage like a tubby Mick Jagger. "Thank you," she said, glancing toward the kitchen, "but the Colonel has already volunteered." A pan hit the kitchen floor. Poor Colonel. I waited for the crowd to settle. "Plus, I got a bonus announcement," I said. "We've signed the hottest musical group this side of Raleigh for the bash." "Excellent. Who?" the mayor asked, jumping to his feet. Crud. When Lavender showed up at Miss Rose's for his mother and son appliance portrait, we'd been on the verge of choosing a name for Dale and Harm's group. I glanced. That's it. "On the verge," I cried. "Live at the bash." A big round of applause. Sal's applause spattered lonely and uncertain in the silence. The mayor stared blankly, his jaw sagging. Dale peeped over the jukebox. "Who?" Harm pulled him back down. "On the verge," I shouted. "Don't miss it." I hopped down and wound my way through the murmuring Tupelites. Dale beamed up at me from behind the jukebox. "On the verge. It's us, isn't it?" he asked, his eyes glistening. "It's you, desperado," I said. "Break a leg." "Figure of speech," Harm told him, and he nodded. "We're going ahead with the party?" "Impossible," Lavender said later that morning as Miss Lana poured his coffee. "I can't get ready in time." Miss Lana settled beside Lavender. Without the excitement of the cafe crowd to sustain her, she looked as tired and worried as Miss Rose had. "Everything takes as long as you've got, Lavender. We have 2 weeks. The show must go on even if Ratface rolls up the stage at the end of it." I looked around the cafe. The crowd had bolted, chatting about party clothes and financial ruin. The Colonel had rumbled off in the Underbird to collect Grandmother Miss Lacy. Dale and Harm had caught a ride with Miss Rose. Only Thess sat at the counter, polishing off his special. "I'm sorry," Lavender said, his voice firm. "I can't do it." Miss Lavender heaved her report card sigh. "What about the pavilion?" I asked. "We can have the bash there." "Outside?" Lavender said. He tilted his head, which means he's thinking, and he opened his egg sandwich, which means he needs pepper. "In October?" "Good point. Autumn here is like the water in my flat. It runs hot and cold." Thess spun on his stool. "My forecast is trending warmer," he said, as I nudged the pepper toward Lavender. "I'll check the specifics for you, Miss Lana." Like me, he'd taken a personal day from school. "Thank you, Thess," she said. "With good weather, all we need's a dance floor and a stage. The river and the stars will do the rest." Lavender peppered his sandwich. 3 sharp shakes. "We've already got the pavilion shored up," he said. "That may be doable." Lavender loves doable. He's like the Colonel that way. He peeked at Thess and lowered his voice. "Miss Lana, I checked the electric lines after what happened last night. The sparks, I mean. I can't find an explanation." Miss Lana shrugged. "Apparently the contract's right. We're ghosty," she said, easy as if she said we're toasty. Lavender choked. Miss Lana grew up in Charleston, where they take ghosts in stride. Lavender grew up at Miss Rose's place. "C'est la vie," she added. "Live and let whatever." "Let whatever," he said. "So," she said, "let's pick a theme for our dance." My stomach lurched. "Dance? Do you mean with boys?" She laughed, a laugh full and sweet as a stolen pear. "A party then, sugar. People can dance or not." "Great," I said, because Dale and me got a strict non-dance policy. "Are you sure, Miss Lobo?" Lavender asked, giving me a wicked grin. "Because all the Johnson men dance, including Dale. Mama sees to it. In fact, I'm hoping you'll do me the honor." "Me? Dance with Lavender?" I waited a beat for dramatic effect like Miss Lana taught me. "You're on." And that's the end of chapter 29.